Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our Chanchi Dharma talk. Last night we stumbled into Master YongHua's talking about the Chinese culture. I think it's Confucian teaching or Confucian concept. I liked it, and I thought about it some more. I like to change a little bit on the translation, because what happens is the Chinese language is very kind of vague, so you can have different branches when you translate. So that's why maybe I like to translate this for the sake of the English speaking people, if you don't mind. Okay, so you should read this as a benevolent person, himself to do what's difficult. That's fine. That's the first section. So the first section talks about the principle. See, this is very, very Buddhist. I don't know, how the Confucians would take it, but I read this, I see it's so profound Buddhism. Okay, maybe that's the roots of the Confucianism anyway. So the principle is that the superior person is undaunted by what's really difficult for him, because that's what he does in his work. Okay, all right? Number 2 section now is 仁者先难而后惑. So it says, the benevolent person I thought about it, I forgot this afternoon, so I apologize. Benevolent person, 先难, okay? First, okay, you should keep this as the same order. The benevolent person first encounters difficulties, thus will subsequently reap. That's how I would translate it, because I like to emphasize from the angle of Mahayana, where the first one is the theory, the second one is actually this person with the great wisdom, that's what he does to put in practice. It's two different things, folks. Be careful about life, about living, about cultivation. Cultivation requires you to have the proper understanding, the proper views, we call it in Buddhism. Okay, so that's the first section. Okay, that's the principle here, the proper doctrine. And number 2, with the doctrine, what do you do with the doctrine? How do you put it into practice? And that's why this saying, I like it so much, because it talks about theory and then it talks about practice. Okay, the theory, I remind you again, is that the superior person really forces himself to do what's difficult to him in particular, okay, in order to do his work, to carry out his mission. So this is a principle behind it. This is the doctrine that regulates the superior person's life. Is that clear? Okay, in the execution of his work, the superior person does not shrink from difficulties. That's the spirit that he's talking about. And number 2, so that's a doctrine. And number 2 is that now he talks about the action. It's fine for us to understand, yeah, in principle, I'm supposed to be a good person. In principle, I'm supposed to be facing difficulties, okay? I should not be afraid of difficulties. That's a principle. But what did you do in action? In action, he says the superior person first faces difficulties. Can we change it to faces instead of encounters? First faces difficulties, thus will subsequently reap. So that's the principle in action. That's how I would translate. I like to submit to you this kind of translation for the English-speaking people. Because in English, we need to be more precise. We need to commit to one type of interpretation. Okay. All right? To illustrate the spirit of it. Any questions about it? Okay, then we move on. We supplement, we reap. Okay, Huo here. In Chinese is that you will obtain, you will attain, you will get your rewards. It has many, many meanings. Okay, but I want to stress here that because the superior person, okay, first faces difficulties, that's why later he will gain big time. Because he's a superior person. Does it help? This is the spirit of the teaching in Chinese, from my perspective, from a Buddhist perspective. Okay, where were we? Okay, 233. Do we need the audio or okay? Let's get going. Thank you, everyone.
所以，在南华寺一开始的时候，只要三藏尊者在那儿开山。
Therefore, at the beginning of Nanua Temple's establishment, the Venerable Tripitaka Master GFCMC was there to initiate the founding.
开山之后，就说是170年后，有肉身菩萨于此教化众生，度人无量。
After the founding, he said that 170 years from now, a bodhisattva in the flesh will be here to teach and transform living beings, crossing over countless people.
南华寺等到6祖继续建造时候，恰恰在智耀三藏尊者到6祖那时候是170年。
By the time the sixth patriarch continued the construction of Nanhua Temple, it had been exactly 170 years between Tripitaka Master Jiyao's arrival and the arrival of the sixth patriarch.
然后他教化大行，佛法普遍。
Only then did the teaching, propagation, and transformation prosper. The Buddha Dharma became widespread.
现在在这个国家， 没有听见佛的名字的人不知有多少，没有听见法的。
Those who have not heard the name, the Buddha, there is no telling how many.
的名字不知有多少，没有看见僧的人。
Those who have not heard of the name the Dharma, there is no telling how many.
不知有多少。
Those who have not seen the Sangha, there is no telling how many.
那么已经闻到佛法的人，见到佛的相，见到僧相，也不知道有多少。
Then, those who have already heard the Buddha Dharma, seen images of the Buddha, and seen the appearance of the Sangha, there is also no telling how many.
虽然不知道有多少，但是我知道，都是没有真正的认识佛法三法。
Although there is no telling how many there are, I know that none of them truly know the Triple Jewel, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha.
所以出家人就很少。如果有人认识的时候，出家人会多了。
So, there are very few monastics. If there comes a time when people understand, then there will be more left-home people.
And that's it? Okay, next section. All right, let's go over Master YongHua's teachings here. Back at slide 233. So he says, to begin the work is very difficult, especially there's no foundation. And he says, in particular in China, there's a very famous temple by the name of Nanua temple. Nan is south, Hua is, I think, is flower. Interesting. Flower of the south. All right. And when he was founded, there was a Venerable Chu Yao was there, was invited there to start the founding. Which brings me back to the story of how the old abbot, Master Xi, used to help his master, his Vietnamese master, found a temple in the boonies. They were running away from the cities, and they ran to the forest, and then he followed his master to the forest, and between the two of them, they built this temple. And he recounted to me how difficult it was because no one around, and no tools. And I think they found something like metal pieces from tanks or from stuff like that, so that they use them to shape them into tools for them to do the work, right? Master Xi, you still remember how tough it was? To turn a deserted area, a forest, into a temple. You remember that when you were younger?
Như là Phật, con nhớ rõ là lúc đó cái chùa là mình tới những cái đồi lúc thời đó là ai khai khẩn thì người đó được quyền làm chủ. Thì thầy ông giỏi về phong thủy, ông chọn cái đồi đó. Rồi ổng giả là người thầy thuốc nam, con đi theo để bảo vệ ổng thôi. Rồi từ từ làm, rồi rất là khó khăn, thực phẩm rồi rất là thiếu. Đúng 1 năm sau thì con sốt rét tưởng chết.
Translation.
Emitofuo Master, I remember that back then, whoever can establish a way place, a temple, then they can have the rights to the property. So my master is really good at feng shui. So he pretend himself to become a Eastern medicine, and I am just tag along to protect him. And we very poor, we don't have enough food. So exactly a year later, I bị sốt rét. Sorry, I don't know.
Malaria.
Yes, malaria.
I got malaria, and to the point I almost died.
Sau này thì Phật tử người ta biết, ta tới cúng dường rất nhiều, thì cũng đạo tràng cũng yên ổn rồi. Sau bị chính quyền tịch thu là nói làm những về tôn giáo giả dạng, cho nên họ tịch thu.
So then later on, Buddhist disciples started to become aware. So they come and they make offering a lot. So the temple becomes stabilized. Later on, the temple was taken away by the government because they think that it is fake covering.
Oh, interesting. You see, these pioneers, they had a very, very rough, they have the drive and the big heart to build a temple in spite of difficulties. And it's just like Master YongHua did in his temples in Hong Kong as well. First temple here in the US. It's very, very difficult, okay? And let alone trying to build a temple in the jungle. So this is what happened in Nanua temple. They were building a temple in the boonies, and then they somehow invited Tripitaka Master Chu Yao to come around to bless it or get it started. I'm not sure, not clear. But Chu Yao here, I think it's some Indian Dharma master they invited who actually came from India. His name is Jananana, whatever, Janaba Banana or something. Is in the 6th patriarch sutra. Okay, so the great master Chu Yao, he says that he made a prediction. He says, you may look down upon this temple right now. It doesn't look that impressive, but 170 years from now, Bodhisattva in the flesh, that's the Buddhist jargon for a Bodhisattva will be born as a human being. Typically, sorry girls, a monk, no women allowed. Okay, this exclusive club. And so a Bodhisattva in the flesh, but on the other hand, Bodhisattvas can be women. Just to cover all the bases. Bodhisattva in the flesh, a monk will appear, will be here to teach and transform living beings, and will cross over countless people. That's the effect of this particular Bodhisattva. You see, if you want to become a Bodhisattva, you want to understand what Bodhisattvas are like. They don't think small like you. Because countless here has no numbers, okay? Has no fixed numbers, all right? So they don't think small, folks. That's what I find. I find that for some reason, many famous monks or important monks think so small. Okay, that's why, as a reminder, if you think small, when you hear the great Dharma, you only get small benefits. If your heart is big, when you hear the great Dharma, you will attain great benefits. And I can't help it, it's just the same. My master's Dharma, Master Hsu's Dharma is just incredible. And compared to what his disciples got out of it, it's a shame. It's only because Master Hsu never reminded them, you cannot think small. Okay, girls? The boys can think small, but I have much higher expectations for you. You cannot think small. Any problems? Okay? He's crossing over. He's gonna go there, appear in China, right at Nanua Su, and then to do a job, and because he's gonna transform countless people. I want you to understand, in Mahayana, when you use countless like that, it's bigger than your heart. In other words, bigger than your calculating heart, constantly calculating what's in it for you. Okay? So far, so good. By the time the 6th patriarch continued the construction on Nanua Su, so it started small, okay? Probably smaller than Go Forest, most likely. Okay, but he continued construction because remember the 6th patriarch sutra. The 6th patriarch came around. He became a patriarch, and he decided to stay in Nanua Su. And then and then his disciples walked him around the temple, the grounds around the temple, and actually one of the patrons of the temple happened to be the landowner around the area. Okay, very rich man in Chinese standards. Okay, and so he says, so Master 6th Patriarch, you remember this anecdote? 6th Patriarch says, I need to expand my temple because I need more space. Again, another question, another lesson here for you nuns and monks and nuns. Okay, that is, they build a temple because of the need to accommodate the monks and nuns. They don't build it beforehand. This is what great people do, people of wisdom do. You know why? Because you build it before the monks and nuns can occupy it. What does it do? It leaks, the roof leaks, and then you have to paint it every 10 years or so. In Korea, every 30 years or so, you have to repaint the decoration, yeah? Okay? That's what happens. And so it's interesting. So it's only after the 6th patriarch came around, and a lot of people came to study with him. That's when he said, it's time for me to expand the temple because we need to accommodate a lot more people than we have right now. So that's why he walked around and expanded the temple by cheating on the owner of the land. Okay, because the owner of the land said, "How much land do you need?" And the master said, I don't think I need that much. I will need as much land as my sash can cover. And the owner, not a problem, master. I have more land than that. So 6th patriarch took out his sash. Again, the point is that he didn't wear his sash. Unlike you, right, girls and boys? You wear your sash, don't you? Okay? 6th patriarch. This is the only time where you are allowed not to wear a sash. That is when you try to get land from the owner. Are we clear on that? I know I'm very lax because I'm scared of you. But that you run away. But the 6th patriarch was not even wearing his sash. I have to remind you, okay? And then, so he took out, he says, oh, it's about as big as my sash. Again, his point is the sash he's carrying around his back, sangha back, and the owner, of course, master, you can have all the land that the sash, your sash can cover. So the sixth patriarch took out the sash and, unfolded the sash and flung it, and it went like 20 miles in each direction. And who says sages don't cheat you? And no one ever complained of the sixth patriarch. No Buddhist disciples ever told me that, how come your sixth patriarch stole from that old man? He misled the owner. You see that? It's amazing, and no one ever complained. See? You get preferential treatment. Okay? So that's why do not accuse my president of being corrupt. He's not as bad as sixth patriarch. Clearly. Okay, so it's funny to me that I read a story about 3 times. I said, how come no one ever complained about this? Okay, and it has been exactly 170 years since the Tripitaka Master Chu Yao arrived, and the arrival of sixth patriarch. So Master Chu Yao, great Master Chu Yao, was a great bodhisattva to himself. That he foresaw it already, what's going to happen. Okay, it's so cool, these things. Yeah. And think about it. When Master Chu Yao said those things, made this prediction, what's in it for him? Nothing. Okay? Yeah, I don't think you can buy predictions. Only then did the teaching, only that the teaching and the transformation really prospered. Okay, so what he's talking about, this Master Shema is talking about you. First of all, again, this is how subtle the Master's teachings is. Okay, he says it's funny. He says when I do the foundation here, I'm going to do when I build Buddhism here. Just like he sort of like made an analogy to the sixth patriarch. He said only until the sixth patriarch came around, that's when the teaching and the transformation prospered greatly. Okay, I pay attention to Chinese because I know the English translation, they miss a lot of the subtleties of Master Hsuan is teaching, what his intentions are, I feel. Okay, again, it's my interpretation, so take it with a grain of salt. So what he's saying is that this is, look. This is the analogy. He said, this is the analogy, what I have to do. Okay, I have to bring you Chinese Buddhism or the teaching. In particular, not just any teaching, the teaching of the Buddha and the patriarchs. Is that clear? Not just any teachings at all. He doesn't just go and pick up a book from the library or from some free book somewhere, and then you and look at it as a teaching. The teaching here is authentic teaching or the teaching of great sages. Very important for you to remember that. Okay, guys? If you do this, you study the teachings on the sages and so forth, you will not be wasting your time. But you spend so much time studying the teachings of people who have no wisdom, usually those teachings, the translations, are distorted. Okay? Be careful. So what Master YongHua says here, what I'm bringing you is the teaching from a Buddha and from the sages. And the transformation. You bring the teaching, that's fine. But also, you have to transform people for them to be able to take advantage of the teaching. Transforming meaning change them for the better. They become gooder, but he didn't say it that way. Okay? To transform here, Hua. Hua here means that he brings out the goodness in you that was not there before. Are we clear on that? Okay? So it's very casual here, but what he says is very profound. He says, this is direction, this is my job, this is my mission. I'm going to provide the teaching, I'm going to provide the transformation. And to me, it's not just him, but also each generation. You need to do that. It doesn't stop at him. If it stops at him, then it dies. Eventually, because you die too, right? Okay, never mind. Think about it again. Why did I come up here again? These people, they are... Da Xing is prospered greatly. Okay? It really thrived. Really thrive. Greatly thrived. Okay? The Buddha Dharma became widespread, whereas not just widespread, but universally all directions. No discrimination, folks, not just Korea, not just Vietnam, not just China, not just US, it's all directions. Okay? Is that clear? Okay. Now, and by the way, that's what patriarchs do, good patriarchs do. Now in this country, those who have not heard of the name of Buddha, there's no telling how many. He says, that was the case in China. But here, at the time it was the 1960s, early 70s, and now in the US of A, our US of A, our republic, have not heard of the name Buddha. Most people have not. Most of the people never heard of Buddha, never heard of the Dharma, never heard of the Sangha. Okay? And those who have heard of the Buddha Dharma, seen images of the Buddha, seen the Sangha, and then after the sixth patriarch came around to China, this is the point. After the sixth patriarch started working as a patriarch, that's when there are countless people. That's why he used the word countless living beings. Countless people heard of Buddha Dharma. Countless people saw images of the Buddha. Okay, heard the teaching and met with the Sangha. That's what the sixth patriarch did. It started with him in a big scale, like it started with Master YongHua. All right? I don't know what he's talking about here, okay? And he says, Okay, so a lot of people may have heard of the triple jewel, but not sure how they truly know of the triple jewel. Okay, yeah. The point is that they don't really have enough wisdom to really appreciate or understand the triple jewel. So there are very few monastics, and there comes a time when people understand. There will be more level people. So he's talking about himself. At that time, probably has a handful of monastics, and he says, right now we have few monastics, but in the future, more people will learn about the Buddha Dharma, because we got started now. We built a foundation. Just like a 6 patriarch times, eventually will be more people who will understand the Buddha Dharma, and then more people will join the Sangha. Any questions? Okay, moving on. Next section.
在昨天，还有一个在西兰寿沙，知道，都是没有真正的认识佛法。在昨天，还有一个在西兰寿沙弥戒的。
Yesterday, a person who had received novice precepts in Sri Lanka came.
一个人，这个人呢，他说到佛教讲堂来找佛法。我对他讲，佛教讲堂没有佛法。
This person, he said he came to the Buddhist lecture hall to seek the Buddha Dharma. I told him that the Buddhist lecture hall has no Buddha Dharma.
他说他是个小乘的，所以说佛教讲堂是个大乘。
He said he is a small vehicle Hinayana practitioner. He said the Buddhist lecture hall is the great vehicle, Mahayana.
我告诉他，咱们这儿也不是大乘，也不是小乘。
I told him, our place here belongs neither to the great vehicle, Mahayana, nor the small vehicle, Hinayana.
也不是有乘，也不是无乘，也不是内乘，也不是外乘。
Also neither the existence of vehicles, nor the non-existence of vehicles, nor the internal vehicle, nor the external vehicle.
咱们这是无大无小，无内外。
Our place here, without great Mahayana, without small Hinayana, and without internal or external.
你要有一个大，就要有一个小来比；有一个小，要有一个大的。
If you have something great, you must have something small to compare it with. If there is something small, you need something great to compare it with.
在佛教 整个的教理，由佛一开始到入涅盘的时候，这一代十教分为58教。
In Buddhism, from the time the Buddha started teaching until his entry into nirvana, the entire teachings during this era were divided into the 5 periods and the 8 teachings.
50就是阿含识，方等识，般若识，法华涅盘识。
The 5 periods are the Avatamsaka period, the Agama period, the Vaipulya period, the Prajna period, and the Dharma flower nirvana period.
法教上通别圆，顿渐秘密不定。
8 teaching stores teaching, connective teaching, separate teaching, perfect teaching, sudden teaching, gradual teaching, secret teaching, and unfixed teaching.
这是佛一生所说的教。
This is what the Buddha taught during his lifetime.
存在小乘，为什么他说它是小乘呢？
Then, in Hinayana, why is it called Hinayana?
大乘，也为什么说它是大乘？这就是啊，人没有事情，来想找事情来做一做。
The great vehicle Mahayana, again, why is it proclaimed as the great vehicle? This is just people with nothing to do, looking for something to keep themselves busy.
在这个没有大乘、没有小乘的一代实教里面，分出来一个大乘、小乘。
During this era of the entire teaching of the Buddha, which had no great vehicle or small vehicle, a division of the great vehicle and the small vehicle emerged.
那个小乘的人，因为呀，最先听这个佛教，听完了，就到其他的国家去教化众生。他只知道啊，讲的恶含经。
The small vehicle practitioners, because they were the very first to hear the Buddha's teachings, immediately after, they went to other countries to teach and transform living beings. They only knew to speak the Agama Sutra.
方等啊，般若呀，法华，他就都不懂，因为他没听过，所以他就不承认呢有这个大乘的经典。大乘
The Vaipulya, the Prajna, the Dharma Flower Sutra, they understood none of these because they had never heard them. That is why they did not recognize the existence of Mahayana Sutras.
推行的比较迅速一点，不像小乘那么样慢。
The spread of Mahayana was relatively swift, unlike that of Hinayana, which was much slower.
昨天我也问这个小乘的沙弥，我问他， 你既然知道这个小乘那么慢，大乘佛法很兴盛。
Yesterday, I also asked this novice Hinayana monk. I asked him, since you know that the spread of Hinayana is so slow, while Mahayana Buddha Dharma flourishes,
这什么原因呢？他说他也不知道。
what is the reason for this? He said he didn't know either.
那么我说你不知道，我告诉你，因为小乘啊，固执啊，也就是一种保守。
Therefore I said, since you don't know, let me tell you. It's because Hinayana is stubborn. In other words, it is a type of conservativeness.
大乘呢，有一种方便法，也就是开明。
Mahayana has a kind of expedient Dharma. It is just open and bright.
啊，在小乘的佛教就说小乘佛教是真的，在大乘佛教就说大乘佛教是好的。
In Hinayana Buddhism, they claim that Hinayana Buddhism is true. In Mahayana Buddhism, they say that Mahayana Buddhism is good.
在这个教理上，也没有哪一个好，哪一个不好，也没有哪一个真，哪一个是假。
So, in this teaching, there is neither one that is good, nor one that is not good, and neither one that is true, nor one that is false.
所谓世法平等，无有高下。
Thus it is said, this Dharma is level and equal, with no high or low.
对你记就是真的，对你记就是好的，不对你的记就是不好，就不是真的。所以
What suits your conditions is true. What suits your conditions is good. What does not suit your conditions is just not good, is just not true.
人参呢是药材里边的最贵重的人参。你要拿着它来当饭吃啊，我保管你就鼻孔流血了。
So, ginseng is the most precious among medicinal herbs. Ginseng, if you eat it like a staple food, I guarantee that your nose will bleed.
不但没有好处，而且还有坏处。因为太过了。
Not only will it do you no good, but it also has harmful effects because it's excessive.
那个砒霜是最有毒的东西，但是你要吃少少，它也不会把你这个人毒死，还会去这个毒的病。
Arsenic is the most poisonous thing. However, if you take a tiny, tiny bit, it won't poison you to death. Furthermore, it will cure toxic illnesses.
这个佛法也是这样，佛法是对症下药的。 因人施教，因病下药。
The Buddha Dharma is like this as well. The Buddha Dharma provides medicine based on the symptoms. It gives teachings specific to the individual and prescribes medicine targeting the illness.
有什么病就给他什么药吃。佛法就是这样，所以才说也没有大乘，也没有小乘。
Whatever illness he has, just give him the appropriate medicine to eat. The Buddha Dharma is just this way. That is why it is said, there is no Mahayana, there is no Hinayana.
你欢喜小乘，就说小乘是真的；欢喜大乘，说大乘是好的。
You like Hinayana? Then you say, Hinayana is true. You like Mahayana? Then you say, Mahayana is good.
啊，我对他说：“我说我们中美佛教会佛教讲堂这个地方，也不是大乘，也不是小乘，咱们是整个全体，不是啊，单单这一个。”
I told him, I said that the Buddhist lecture hall of our Sino-American Buddhist Association is neither Mahayana nor Hinayana. We are the whole, in its entirety, not just one.
扩呢，咱们是全体，所以。 我也不反对小乘，我也不赞叹大乘。
We are the entirety. Therefore, I neither oppose Hinayana nor exalt Mahayana.
你欢喜小乘，我就跟你讲小乘；欢喜大乘，我跟你说大乘。
You like Hinayana? I will just speak to you about Hinayana. You like Mahayana? I will speak to you about Mahayana.
啊，你欢喜有乘讲有乘，欢喜无乘讲无乘。
You like the existence of vehicles? I will talk about the existence of vehicles. You like the non-existence of vehicles? I will talk about the non-existence of vehicles.
啊，大小内外。 咱们都没有，无大无小，无内外，自修自了自安排，那是这个大修禅师他说的。
Big, small, internal, external, we have none of them. Without Mahayana, without Hinayana, without internal or external, self-cultivation, self-liberation, self-arrangement. This was also said by Chan Master Dashu.
咱们这个宗旨也就是这样，没有大，没有小，没有内，没有外。
Our guiding principles here are also just that way. No big, no small, no internal, no external.
结果这位沙弥呀，当时是很高兴的。那么本来说今天来，我又对他讲，
In the end, this novice monk was very happy at that time. So, he originally said he would come today, and, indeed, he came today.
我说这个小乘和大乘，不要讲哪个真，哪个是好。
Furthermore, I told him, I said, this Hinayana and Mahayana do not talk about which one is true, or which one is good.
可是这个小 不能包括大，大是能包括小的。
However, the small cannot encompass the large. Only the large can encompass the small.
这个小孩子，将来会长大，长大也就是大。
This little child, in the future, he'll grow up. Once grown, he's also just an adult.
那么大人也就从小孩子那儿走到这个大人的这个过程。
So, adults have also gone through this process, from being this little child to being an adult.
所以不要没有事情就净找事情来做。
Therefore, don't look for things to do just because there's nothing to do. 我对这位沙弥讲过之后，回头他的思想会稍微有一点变化。 After I spoke with this novice monk, perhaps the way he thinks might change a little.
Okay, that's long enough. Can't keep track of how long this has been going on between small vehicle and large vehicle and China and Sri Lanka, Mahayana and Hinayana. And look at this, we've been doing at this for half an hour already. Tell me when to stop. Look at this. Oh, okay. Okay. 243. Now, let's go over my YongHua's story. What was it? Is there a problem? Okay. So he says, by the way, there is a novice monk from Ceylon, Sri Lanka, who came to the temple. Kind of interesting that he even drew people to go there to his temple, which is kind of tiny. But you know, on the other hand, the temples in Ceylon, they really are not as fancy as typical temples in China. Or in Korea. This person said he came to the Buddhist lecture hall to seek the Buddha Dharma. I told him that the Buddhist lecture hall has no Buddha Dharma. How shocking. Okay? So this monk here, which is extremely rare for them to come to the Buddhist lecture hall, to Master YongHua's temple, looking for Buddha Dharma. This is very unusual, because my experience has been, this is about 30 years later, that's a lot of these Ceylon people, they come looking for Buddha Dharma, not at temples, at universities. Because right nowadays, when you go to Buddhist journal or Buddhist society, and the people who are in charge, people who are the leadership, are usually the Mahathera, so and so, comma, PhD. They all have PhDs. If you want to be who's who in that circles, you have a PhD. And so the Buddhist monks from these countries would like to come to the U.S. to go to get a PhD in Buddhism. Okay, and the reason I know, because I've met a couple of them who went to the West down south. So they're looking for some free rent, so they came and they asked me, because, Lu Mountain Temple, just advertising, is about 5-minute drive from Yu of the West. We're very convenient. Even our own people, we go in Yu of the West. Okay? It's just for the sake of disclosure. I don't want you to think that we're above it. Okay, so I know my personal experience has been that nowadays, for the Sri Lankans and Ceylon, those people, they prize PhD degrees. Okay, so all the major influential Buddhist societies are headed by the Mahatheras and who has a PhD, okay, or these people then go to the university, like Yu of the West. They employ these Mahatheras. So you teach, you learn from there, and you come back and as a teaching staff. All right. So for this novice monk to come and look for Master Shenhua, look for Buddha Dharma, that's pretty impressive. And what did he do? He says, "No Buddha Dharma here. You wasted your time." Okay. And if I were him, I'd say, "Okay, thank you, Master. Goodbye. You have nothing for me here. Why do I need to talk to you?" But no, he stuck around. Okay. Yeah. He says, "I'm a small vehicle." He said, he was small vehicle. Translation, I know my English is not that great, but this is even worse, a lot worse. He said he was small vehicle. You see, in the same sentence, by the way, girls and boys, in this simple grammar, the tense have to be in sync, if you will. You don't have a past tense here and then a present tense here, unless a very special case. Special case, what I mean by special case is people who have great literary talents, not you. Okay? So, I am small vehicle. I was small vehicle. And the Buddhist lecture hall was great vehicle. See, he stood his ground. And that's why Master Shenhua liked him. He spoke some Dharma for him. And, not and. You see, you cannot translate literally because it's awkward in English. Okay, he said he was small vehicle and this here, change to and. Anyway, it doesn't matter, it's not a big deal. This is not a lesson in grammar or English for you non-English speaking people. To you, it's all the same, okay? Okay. Okay, so he made a statement. He said that I'm small vehicle, you are big vehicle. Interesting. And this is very unusual novice monk. For a novice monk to say that, he's probably has not been corrupted yet. Okay? So Master Shenhua, I told him, our place here belongs to neither the great vehicle nor the small vehicle, which is consistent with the fact that there's no Buddha Dharma. Because to him, you see, this is very fast for Master Shenhua. It's so fast. The guy says, I'm looking for Buddha Dharma. Okay? The big Buddha Dharma. Master Shenhua says, no Buddha Dharma here. But I'm small vehicle, you big vehicle, I'm looking for a big vehicle. Then Master Shenhua says, there's no Buddha Dharma here, there's no small, there's no big either. See how consistent his answers are. It's okay, Nacho, it's okay. Relax, okay. Amigo, okay. And not either the existence of vehicles. Who keeps on moving this thing? I go down south, WMT, and there's a ghost who messes with my audio. Has been doing it for years. Every single chi, he misbehaves. That's why I'm very sensitive to these things. What did I do to deserve this? Okay. He said, also, there is not existing. Because he's referring to, you're looking for Buddha Dharma here, Mahayana here. Let me tell you, this Buddhist lecture hall, there's no Mahayana for you. Okay? Nor there is any vehicle. You see my problem with this English translation? It's what in Vietnam we call tiếng Anh mỏi. I mean, Aborigine English. Anyway, never mind. So, nor any vehicle, okay, nor no non-vehicle. You see that? It's very succinct, it's very precise. There's no vehicle, there's no non-vehicle, there's no inner vehicle, there's no outer vehicle. It's not internal, it's not external. Fix it! These people don't understand Chinese. They need a Vietnamese to explain to them what their Chinese language means. I'm glad I have a Chinese girl here to be my witness. And also, there is no vehicle nor no non-vehicle. See, even I said that they didn't get it either. And the first part, and there is no vehicle. There's no non-existent. You want me to type it for you? God damn. And there is no vehicle right here. No non-vehicle. No vehicles. And all. Thank you. Okay. Does it sound better to you? Does it make sense to you now in English? Maybe this is why the English-speaking Americans run away from them. Only the lousy ones stick around. Why, that's mean. Okay, go back to slideshow. Yes, Wei Mountain.
Thank you, Master. Wouldn't a non-vehicle just be shoes?
Shoes?
Yeah, you're not in a vehicle, you're just walking.
Just walking? No, that's stick to Buddhism.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Explain. Your English is too advanced for me. American jokes, you know. They don't know our limitations.
Thank you, Master.
The American guy behind you is not even laughing.
I appreciate the opportunity to translate into big, beautiful Mahayana.
Okay. Mahayana. Yeah, okay, okay. Here we go. We have a new term now. Mahayana. Thank you. Wow. Maybe he's the first one who coined the term, Mahayana. Thank you, Peter. The rest of the world is forever grateful to you, traitor. He's a Democrat, you know. He's a Republican hater. In other words, when I tell you last week why I announced that I was becoming a Democrat, he went. He couldn't even help. So, what? Go on. Please explain what is shoes. Oh, your vehicle. Yeah, okay, I got it now. Oh God, that's too subtle.
I'm trying to be very benevolent.
That's pretty good. Okay, it's okay. It's not for Asians.
Oh, I should have said sandals. I'm so sorry.
Sandals. Sandal is better. Okay. Again, too subtle. Okay. I don't think my standard is what would ChatGPT translate this? ChatGPT would never use sandals or shoes. They would use vehicle.
That's where I'm stumbling, like, in all sincerity. What is a non-vehicle? What is that? I'm sorry, what is not that?
Okay, here's a concept. The concept is it, you know a vehicle, right? Okay, whatever vehicle is, it's no vehicle. So far so good, the first part is no vehicle. That's clear, right? In terms of logic, if you have A, there's non-A. That's what he's referring to. He has the opposite of vehicle, which is what we translate as non-vehicle. 无胜 is non-vehicle. That's all. That's all it means, a negation of vehicle. That's all it means. Whatever it is, it's just negation of vehicles. Okay, non-sandals, you like? Non-Crocs.
No Chandla.
No what?
Chandla.
No what?
Changla.
This is a new term. Okay, this is way too American for.
Nacho Espanol. No Changla. Kla? Chancla.
Chan Club?
Yeah, it has Chan.
Chan Clog. Okay, it's okay.
No Sabato. Okay, sorry.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you,
Master. It's very
thank you,
helpful.
thank you, everyone. See, even we allow people to speak nonsense. Jumi, no, it's not time right now. Okay, so there's no vehicle, non-vehicle, no inner vehicle, no outer vehicle. Okay, no the outer vehicle. You like it's okay. I'm okay. Yeah, with all your English. No the outer vehicle. I mean, it doesn't bother them. This is so typical of Vietnam English. Okay. Our place here, here, over here. No, you don't say our place here. Oh my God, I mean, see more movies. God, you guys, you want to translate, watch movies. Our place here. Has no grade. It's not without. I mean, God. I mean, I'm sorry. I know. I'm splitting hair, but this is ridiculous. Can you speak such these simple words? Our place here has no grade. no small, okay, no inner, no outer. It's that simple. It's not even vehicle. We're not even talking about vehicle. We're talking about small, big, inner, outer. The logic is very clear in Chinese, and yet they managed to mess it up in English. Much Shinhua is fantastic. Yes, amigo. 6.
Emitofuo Master. So, what is inner and outer vehicle?
What he's referring to is the opposite of small and great. Okay? Meaning great, small is outside. Because small, this is small. This is great. This is bigger. Okay? And so he says he went the opposite side. And his Buddha Dharma is very fast, very precise. He says, you see outside, okay, so therefore there's no inside. Okay, if there's no inside, there's no opposite inside, which is outside. But I didn't want to use the same thing. I use inner, no outer, just to confuse Hispanics. All right? Yes, Weimar, YouTube.
Thank you, Master. You have 2 comments here. Diego Alfonso says, Emitofuo, Master, I think that all of this refers to not having any discrimination. There's only one Buddha Dharma, and that's it.
Very good. Next.
Jane Clymer says, ChatGPT translation is, I told him, here we are neither Mahayana nor Hinayana, nor is it multiplication, nor no multiplication, nor internal multiplication, nor external multiplication.
Very good. Excellent. Did you know, speaking of ChatGPT, thanks to ChatGPT, I just read the news today. I believe Microsoft laid off 9,000 people. Thank you, ChatGPT. I'm sure some of you have your loved ones are affected by that. And then last week, it was at Alphabet, laid off 8,000 people. And the week before that, Meta laid off like 6,000 people. All those you people who have nothing to do, come join our Chanchi. Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, so inner, outer, okay, very good, ChatGPT, keep at it. Too much. Because, he says next, because if you have something great, you must be comparing it to something small. If you have something small, it's in relation to something great. You see, this is what we say in English, but no, boring. Yeah. Okay? Okay, don't need to change it. I don't have time to go through this with you. Okay. See, so he says, you know, your mind is constantly discriminating, is comparing small, great, inner, outside, you know, English, Chinese, China, Maga, you know, kind of thing, okay? And in Buddhism, let me remind you, in Buddhism, speaking of the Buddha Dharma, when the Buddha started, until he entered Nirvana, okay? Nirvana should usually have a cap, capital N. The entire teachings during this era, 以代许教, the teaching of his lifetime, my God, you know, do you understand? You Chinese people, You know, you see what I'm getting at? Who is the Chinese person who translated this? I would can her or scar her back. Is it ChatGPT? Okay, year 7. Finally back to 7. Thank you for waiting. Okay, that's not meant to be.
와서 제가 한 4개월 정도 전에 했어야 되는 참회가 있는데 오늘 좀 하고 싶은데 괜찮을까요?
Master, I had something I wanted to repent. What I had to repent 4 months ago, but I would like to do it today. Is that okay?
Is this real personal?
아니 그렇게 개인적이진 않아요.
Is it a
No, not
Korean
that
thing? Is why
personal.
you flew here? Or is it an American thing that only stays in America?
해도 될까요?
Can I do it?
Is it Korean or is it American?
인터내셔널 Chinese.
Okay, go ahead. Quickly.
와서 이제 이제 일단은 그게 이제 시점이 1년 전에 그 DTT 그랜드 오프닝 때 있었던 일이거든요. 근데 이제 어떤 제가자분이 그 블레싱을 받으셨어야 됐는데 제가 이제 이렇게 주지 스님이 식사를 가셔야 된다고 그렇게 좀 중단시켰던 그 일이 있었어요. 네.
So this happened about an year ago when DTT had a grand opening. One lay person had to get a blessing, but I stopped her because Abbot Snim has to go to have meal.
이제 근데 사실은 이제 그때 사실은 4개월 전에 참여를 하지 않고 지금 한 이유는 마스터께서 그때 그 질문자에게 주셨던 그 가르침이 제가 하는 참회가 도움이 안 될 것 같아서 지금 하려고 하는 거고요. 네.
So the reason I didn't repent 4 months ago, but I decided to do it now is that because the teaching you gave to the questioner, I thought it wouldn't help, my repentance wouldn't help this person. So I'm doing it today.
그래서 제가 무려 4개월을 기다렸다가 오늘 참여를 하는 거고 허락해 주셔서 감사하고요. 네.
So I waited about 4 months to repent, and I am so grateful that you allowed me to repent.
그다음에 이제 사실은 그때 저는 어떤 변명을 가지고 있냐면 그때 워낙 방문자가 많았기 때문에 그 분을 계기로 다시 블레싱을 시작하게 되면 다시 이렇게 제 세컨 라운드가 펼쳐질 것 같은 분위기였어요. 네.
So if I want to make excuse for myself is that we had so many visitors back then. So if she or he makes the blessing start again, it seemed like there would be a second round of blessing.
그러니까 무슨 말이냐면 워낙 텀이 길기 때문에 먼저 받으셨던 분이 다시 그 블레싱이 시작되나 보다라고 해서 한 10명 정도가 다시 돌아가려고 하셨다가 자기 지인들한테 연락을 하고 다시 법당으로 올라와서 다시 판이 펼쳐질 거라는 것을 의미하는 거거든요. 네.
The meaning is that the blessing time was so long. So because the group that had a blessing in the first time thought there was another session of blessing. So maybe 10 of them was heading back home, but they called all their friends and they called them in to the Buddha hall again, and seemed like there will be another session of blessings.
근데 그렇게 되면 어떤 문제가 되냐면 전체적인 일정이 딜레이가 되고 마서지가 식사를 하러 내려가셔야 마서 X씨가 법당에 올라오셔서 로테이션을 할 수 있고 오후 일정을 진행할 수 있는 상황이었거든요. 네.
So the problem was the overall schedule was very delayed, and Master Z had to go down to have lunch so that Master C could come up and start another session.
그래서 제가 이 모든 걸 다 설명을 할 수가 없어서 이제 주지스님 식사를 하셔러 가야 된다고 그렇게 얘기를 했던 건데 아무도 저에게 뭐 교통 정리를 하라고 한 적도 없고 저도 그냥 단순한 방문객인데 제가 번뇌를 드려서 죄송하다는 말씀을 꼭 드리고 싶었습니다. 죄송합니다.
So I couldn't explain all this, so I told this person that Abbot needs to go dine. And nobody asked me to manage this everything, so I'm really sorry about this. I repent.
Okay, very good. You're forgiven. Okay, the 5 periods are. Oh, wait, we didn't go through this yet. In this lifetime, we'll divide into 5 periods and the 8 teachings. Okay, this is standard knowledge. So he's introducing these Buddhist concepts. The 5 periods are Avatamsaka, Agama, Vipulya, Prajna, and Dharma flower / Nirvana. Okay, period. So those are the 5 periods, and because each period is geared towards a different set of students. That's why there are 5 different kinds of levels as far as the Buddha was concerned. Okay, so he broke it into 5 big pieces. Okay, so and then the 8 teachings are the store teaching, the connective teaching, separate teaching, perfect teaching. And then, so those are from sutras. The store, that's Agama. Connective is Vipulya. Separate is Prajna. Perfect is Dharma flower and Nirvana. Okay, era. That's just before the Buddha died, entered Nirvana. And then, so this is the teaching type. And then you have sudden and gradual. Gradual is Hinayana. And Hinayana, Mahayana is gradual, and sudden is basically by itself. Sudden is very few people understand sudden nowadays, particularly this Dharma ending age. Very few monks and nuns don't understand, really understand this sudden teaching, and so forth. Okay. Anyway, it's a shame right now. Really, I can't think of many people who understand certain teaching at all. After Master YongHua died, I didn't see anyone at all. As a matter of fact, I hope there are more who step up and manifest themselves so that our certain teaching will not die. Secret teaching. Would you say that what is it? Tibetan is secret? No, it's not secret. Okay, secret teaching here from the Chinese perspective is much bigger than Tibetan. Okay, in my humble opinion, unfixed teaching. You can't classify. The unfixed is a bucket that doesn't belong to the prior 7 as unfixed. Okay? And so those are the 8 teachings. This is what the Buddha taught during his lifetime. Very good. And the Hinayana, what is it exactly? The great vehicle, again, why is it called great vehicle? Okay. Why do you say it's great vehicle? Why is it called great vehicle? This is just people with nothing to do, looking for something to keep themselves busy. This is what Master Shewa likes us to say. And you have too much free time. You are doing, basically it says you're doing nonsense. You're chasing after nonsense. Okay, this is the English expression. This is nonsense. This is hogwash. This is because in in English we have a term called busybody. So I can think of a few people who have nothing to do. As soon as you have a problem, I can help. During a chanty in particular, you have a problem, I help. During a chanty, I remind you, if someone dies next to you, let her rot. Have looking for something to do. During era of the entire teaching of Buddha, there's no vehicle, small vehicle, and somehow it was divided into great and small vehicle. My God, can we just? He's speaking. He's not writing. This is not written English. He's spoken English. He speaks Dharma. A division of great vehicle, small vehicle emerged. You talk like that to your customers, to your friends, to your brothers and your sisters. Bro, a division of a great vehicle emerged. I find it funny. That's all. I find funny things everywhere I look. For some reason, it's okay. Don't worry. We don't have time to fix everything. Okay. Small vehicle practitioners. And the first to hear the Buddha teachings immediately after, they went to other countries. Teachers were living there only able. They knew of the Agama Sutra. It's exactly 9:51 already, and thanks to Jumi, we just arrived at the end of the lecture. Okay, we pick it up again tomorrow night. Thank you, everyone. Hey, did you ever drive a Model X? It's outside. No. There is a courtesy car. Okay, I think Lloyd brought the car to the dealer already. I'm afraid to ask him why. But there's a Model X out there, and I'm told $140,000. Okay, I'm sure that some Koreans or some people would like to know how much it's worth. You may want to get a ride and see what it's like. $140,000.